Welcome to the Spotlight webinar for February 2026. Without any further ado, let's get into it today. I suppose I should share my screen before we get into it. There we go. That looks a little bit better, I think. So we have a couple of things to talk about this month. We're going to talk about the 6.1.500 release and what we're going to be doing with the product moving forward. As usual, we're also going to talk about some enhancements and bug fixes. Let's talk about 6.1.500. We released it on the 24th of January. It has a lot of new stuff in it, although for most of you, it's going to be new stuff that you're not going to be able to use because it's all going to be AI-based functionality. We have implemented a new AI feature in the product. It is called Pathfinder. There are also some other features for using Microsoft 365 or Microsoft 365 Copilot, or whatever else it is that Microsoft has decided to call Office today. But that's only for collaborative document authoring, which is a separately licensed component. Pathfinder is also a separately licensed component. Pathfinder is an AI implementation for Process Director. It's using Azure AI Foundry in the back end. There's, I believe, some choices of some different AI engines that we can use for it. And what it enables is a Pathfinder chatbot on the front of the website. Now, I know I've talked about this before, and this chatbot you could train on your own applications that you have running on Process Director. So if people have questions about how to fill out a leave form or whatever it is that you have, they can ask the chatbot. It does way more than that if you're an implementer, because what it enables you to do are to pull in documents, to read those documents, one, to summarize them in a plain language summary, two, to take information from inside the document, find the information that you want via prompt at design time. And at runtime, it just finds that information in the document, extracts it, and places it into form fields on the document. You'll have to excuse me, I've been sick for the past week and I'm just getting over it. So if I have to go silent and cough or something, please bear with me. This is the first time I've tried to talk for half an hour plus since I got sick last week. Now, as I said, both of these are additionally licensed components. If you're using regular or collaborative document authoring, you're probably using the OnlyOffice service. That service is not going away, but we have some customers who would rather do everything inside their Azure environment. And so Microsoft 365 will also work with CDA. It requires some extra configuration. Pathfinder requires some extra configuration. 6.1.500 in general, however, marks a leap forward for us in terms of providing more AI-enabled assistance in the product. We're soliciting customer input on the things that we should do with AI as we begin to move forward with the product and think of AI features. To that end, we have on the BP Logix community, which I suppose I should show you here. And if you are not a member of the BP Logix community, please feel free to email me or email your tech support, not your tech support, your account manager for BP Logix. We can get you into the community and you can join. And as part of the community, we are doing a monthly customer AI forum. It is an open forum. Everybody can talk. It's not one of these one-way things like these webinars. It really is an open discussion room where everyone can talk. We had a fairly large meeting in February to kick it off. I kind of thought it was a one-off thing, and people started asking, can we do this on a regular basis? So yes, we can do this on a regular basis. And so our next meeting will be on Friday, February 20th at 10 a.m., or I'm sorry, 12 p.m. Pacific time. And so if you are a member of the community, you can join this forum. And the last forum, we talked about some additions that we could add to Process Director to make implementers' lives easier. We had a lot of suggestions about that. I've written a formal proposal from the product team, or that I've given to the product team to review along with the engineering team for some of the things that we might do to make implementers' lives easier. This next Customer AI Forum meeting on February 20th, we'll be talking about things that can make end users' lives a little bit easier whenever they are using your applications. So we are at this point casting a wide net to see if there are useful tools that we can leverage AI to place into the product. We're not, I think, doing anything super advanced or and nor are we super optimistic about what we can and can't do with AI. I think we're fairly grounded in our assessment of the places where AI can help us and where it would be useful, and places where it would be superfluous. We are currently kind of in the brainstorming stage where there just are no bad ideas. But if you want to have some input into the product and its future direction, at least in terms of AI and features that we might add into it that would help you or help your users, please feel free to join the BP Logix community. It is at community.bplogix.com. You will need an invitation to join, so it's not open to the general public. It is a BP Logix community, so it is a little more tightly regulated on how you can get in. But contact me, contact your BP Logix account rep. We can send you an email containing a self-registration link. You can sign up and you'll automatically be part of the community. If you attend the customer forum, I will add you to the special chat channel that we have here for product AI discussion and for posts and documents related to it, which is where we're posting. Currently, only AI forum attendees can access this particular channel to have a discussion. But in general, there's lots of people on here. You can go in, you can ask questions. I post in here a lot. Francis posts in here a lot. We also provide updates in here. So if you want to join the community, it certainly is available to you, and we'd be happy to have you. So third Friday of each month, Circle Community Live Room. Join in the conversation if you would like, as we talk about how we can add more AI to Process Director in a useful and productive way, not to add AI just for the sake of adding AI. That is, I think, this is me personally, I'm not speaking for the company, but I have seen companies that, in my opinion, have tried to use AI for the sake of using AI and for, telling their shareholders and among others that, hey, we're really adopting AI and it's the future, which, it may very well be, but adopting AI just because it's AI is not a reason. It has to be a tool that provides value to customers and to end users. And that is the lens with which we are looking at AI moving forward. So the introduction of Pathfinder in version 6.500 is our first step towards trying to realize some useful and productive vision of AI within Process Director. So please feel free to join us if you want to take part in any of those discussions. With that in mind, let's look at some stuff that we have added into the product since 6.1.500. I think one of the most interesting ones that we have, which came from a customer suggestion, are expandable K-view rows. And We have been able to implement this, although it operates a little differently than a normal K-view. What normally happens in a K-view is it pulls all of the data back all at one time and displays them all in a row. With this new expandable rows feature, it actually runs a two-phase query. So I think it actually has a little less system load if you run it, because when you have these expandable K-view rows, and we're just about to look at some, so it'll be a little clearer to you when we do so. When you have these expandable K-view rows, it runs the query in two phases. It runs the initial query to pull the data that you want to show by default. And then when you expand, it runs the query the second time just to grab the specific information that is relevant to that row. So in practical matters, it looks like this. So this is a knowledge view that has several fields that it is putatively pulling back, but the initial query from the database pulls back the name, the ID of this particular company, or actually the name of the form, the ID of this particular company, and the company name. But you'll notice that there is this icon right here that if you click on it, will expand and show you all of the other fields or columns that I have placed in that query. So this second part doesn't really happen until I click the little button, and it goes out and it grabs that data. So rather than pulling it all back at one time, it pulls it back in this this two-part query. And this is kind of a cool feature, although it has a couple of little drawbacks. And like any new feature, there are trade-offs. So one of the trade-offs is that since I bring this data in my initial query, it does change how the CSV export works, because even though I have all of this information here available to me on click whenever I expand a row, if I click the CSV import, which I did previously and exported it, well, I'll just tell you, clearly something is, oh, there we go. It took its own sweet time. So let me just click open here. We'll just open this directly and open the CSV file. And what you can see is it's only giving me those columns that were originally pulled back. So in this case, it's only going to give me these three columns, the name, the ID, and the company. That's what exports. If you want all of the other data that is contained in the expandable rows, well, you're going to have to pull that data all in one, big query that contains all of these columns, not in the expanded section. So when you use the expandable rows, only the non-expanded data will be exported when you export to CSV. To get everything else, these would have to be part of the default rows that you wanted to see on export. So it will change, at least in some way, if you start using these, it will change your decision about whether or not you want to make the CSV export available to your end users, because they're simply not on the export going to get all of this extra data. So with that in mind, we can just take a look at how it's configured. It's actually quite simple. It's all configured on the columns tab. There is now an extra column on the columns tab called show on expand. And as you can see, I've pulled all of these columns off of these 1,000 form instances. And I've just decided I only want these first three columns at the top. And if I want to see all of the rest of the stuff, I'll just check and place these in these show on expand columns. Now, this is not a completed version. Actually, it may be a completed version. I don't know. I just got the system updated yesterday. In place edit also works. Now, I don't know if this is going to work because I don't know if I have a version that has the finished story to allow in place editing on my expanded columns. I guess we're about to find out. Although I don't also think I have this configured to actually do in place editing Well, I've got everything turned on, so it should work here. But I don't know if it will work because I don't know if I have the completed story to allow in-place editing. But essentially, what I'm trying to get at is that the in-place editing will work with the expanded columns as well, just as it does with normal knowledge views. So we've integrated the in-place editing along with the expanding rows to make these particular columns editable. This is a very large knowledge view. It's returning 1,000 rows, so it takes a few moments. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and move forward, and then we'll just come back and check on this whenever this thing loads up, and we'll check on its status, and we'll look at a couple of different things. Updates to K-View filters. This is also a change that we have made. K-View filters are weird. And unlike a condition that you might build in a form or in a process timeline, we don't have as much freedom to build filter conditions in the condition builder in a knowledge view. There are some things that we just don't know until the knowledge view is returned. There are some objects in the context of a knowledge view that are just not accessible through the knowledge view, some form properties and some timeline properties. And K-view filters, therefore, have always been quite restrictive in what you're allowed to do and what you're allowed to return with a K-view filter. We have expanded that, and we have added. I guess I'd have to admit that in some circumstances, we added filters, but we didn't add their complementary filter, right? So if you have an in, there should also be a not in, so I can do both of those comparisons. And there were some cases where we had things like in, but we didn't have the not in. We also added, I believe, the ability to run a text box on the left side of the condition builder, which was not previously possible in Process Director. We didn't add that. So there's been some changes to the K-view filters, which we can try to take a look at. But first, let's see, does this work? I do not have the version that has it working. So we went through all of that just to not be able to in-place edit these fields yet. But you will be able to in-place edit those fields. I just don't have a version that has that finished feature built into the product. But while we're here, let's go into the filter area. Let's add a condition. And so over here on the left-hand side, as I was saying, there were a lot of restrictions for things that you could build. You just didn't see as many options as you had for forms and process timelines. But we have added some. We have added some additional operators, although that's probably not the best. Let's go to form field, and we'll just leave that there. I really wanted to get here to these fields. Well, we have contains, we have starts with. I don't see the in or not in. I think I'd probably have to have a group or something like that to pull in or not in. It's always hard to show filters because the operators that you see are highly dependent on what it is that you choose here. Form thing. Okay, well, I'm not sure what I can pick. We'll just pick webinar. To try. Okay, not sure what I've done at all there to switch over. Okay, well, I've got category is set, is not set. Well, I'd have to hunt around to find the filters, but we've added new filters. So that should be some good news. You've got a little more freedom now for filtering your queries and some new operators that make a little more sense, especially for text comparison or searching in or not in groups. Another new feature, we won't look at it at the moment. We won't look at any of the rest of these, I don't think. But for those of you who do decide to purchase a Pathfinder license and who do get set up, we've now implemented AI usage tracking. One of the downsides of AI systems is that you have a limited number of tokens for use with the AI. Uh, Depending on what system it is, they may be fairly liberal. If you want something that's a little more um, heavy on the thinking side, the number of tokens you receive can be fairly restrictive. So you're probably going to need to be able to track your AI usage in your system to be sure that you're not overusing it or to see how close you are to running out of tokens. So we've added an AI usage tracking feature for Pathfinder. The user signature, anytime you pull a user system variable, there is a formatter called format equals signature. Normally, that returns if there is a signature, it will return the URL of the signature image that you've loaded into Process Director. Prior to now, the default was if there was no signature, it would still return the name of the user. So it would never return anything blank. Well, as it turns out, we'd kind of like to be able to verify whether the user has a signature in the system or not. So we have changed the format equals signature formatter for all user system variables so that if there is no signature image on the system, it will actually return a blank string. It will return blank. And so there will be no value returned. And what this enables you to do is to use the user system variable with format equals signature to validate whether or not a signature exists. So that came from a customer who did have a deal where they wanted to place a signature on PDFs, but if there was no signature and they were using the format equals signature formatter, it was still returning a username and everything was going all higgledy-piggledy. So what they wanted to do was to just be able to look to see if the user signature existed. If it existed, they could place it in the PDF file. If it didn't exist, they could just roll on and ignore it. So now that we have changed that formatter so that if there is no signature, it returns blank. There is also a new document similarity system variable for Pathfinder. You'd really have to kind of know how Pathfinder works to know why this is useful. But if you upload a document into Pathfinder, it'd be useful to know if somebody else has already uploaded that document into the form. And so we have a document similarity sysvar that will just check all of the excuse me, it will check all of the uploaded documents to see if the document you're uploading now matches any of the ones that have already been uploaded. Even if it has a different name, it will know that the content is the same and it will return that those documents are the same. So that's it for enhancements. We have attacked a couple of bugs. Largely with the content list, we've changed how the content list works because some of you have very large content lists with tens of thousands of objects in your system. Those are big content lists, and returning them all at one big go is kind of tough. So we've implemented lazy loading in the content list. So if you have more than, I think the number is 50,000 objects in the content list, but something is also in my head saying 10,000. I don't remember, forgive me. Either way, that's a lot of objects. And if you have more than that set number, then we don't return the entire content list to you. What we do is we return the content list to you level by level as you request it. Now, if you have a smaller content list, we just grab everything and fill up the content list just as in all previous versions. But really large content lists have serious performance implications. So we've gone to this lazy loading system. And as a result, there have been a couple of hiccups with the lazy loading system because some things were just a little too lazy. One of them being knowledge views, which were just not displaying in the content list. There were some various other CSS and display issues that we had found and had to correct as well. Enhanced diagnostic logging. and we started this with .500. In fact, I got a tech support ticket from someone that said, I'm seeing a lot, I'm seeing different stuff in the logs. It seems like it's doing more. Is it? Yes, it is. We have some extra diagnostic logging for processes. And by the way, let me step back and say this. There's a lot of stuff in the logs that are just there for us. If we at BP Logix need to troubleshoot something for you, we need to analyze your logs. There are a lot of things that show up perhaps as errors that are not really errors, or they are self-correcting errors. Because we're going to go through some things iteratively. We expect that there are going to be, some failures on the first round. We'll catch them again on the second round. So there's a lot of logging stuff there that's really just sort of housekeeping for us to tell what's going on. We've added more of that. I would not suggest that you just open up your log files willy-nilly and start searching through them to find things that are wrong, because you will see things that will frighten or confuse you, but which are totally expected. The time to look at the logs is after you've had a problem, not to try to preemptively search through the logs to find things that are wrong, because you're just going to see some things that are wrong in the logs, but that we expect to be there, and that we know are either self-correcting or are there simply so that we can ensure that a bad thing didn't happen. And so the log, even and I've been at this for, over a decade now, even I have a lot of trouble with the logs. The one thing that having Claude Code running here is that I can have it analyze log files and tell me what's going on, because even I can get led down the garden path by thinking, I found something wrong. And then I talk to someone on the engineering team and they go, oh, no, we expect to see that in the logs. So there's now going to be more stuff in the logs. Not a bunch more, but you may notice it. There are some errors that you're not even going to notice unless you're on Cloudflare. So we do have a couple of customers that are running on-premise systems, but they are running them in their own cloud, which is run on Cloudflare. And Cloudflare is a good service, kind of paranoid. And so there were some Cloudflare issues that we had to take care of. Some of the property menus in the OFD went a little bit wonky whenever, especially if there were a whole bunch of menus. Like if you go into the menu for a property, like the default value on a control, and let's say you want to set that control to a case property. And so, you have to find case instances, and you got to find the case, and then you got to go and so there are all these little sub menus that are popping up, and the sub menus have gotten bigger than the space available to you inside the design console on the right-hand side of the screen whenever you're looking at the online form designer. So we had to go in there and had to fix those property menus so that they don't extend past the screen, because once you've folded out like your fourth level of property for the default value, and half of it is off the screen, you can't tell what property it is that you're selecting. Not helpful. So we've kind of confined where those property menus keep chaining down. We've confined where they appear so that they don't run off the side of the screen in the design console whenever you're looking at them in the online form designer. Set form data array had a little bug in it where it wasn't actually parsing the rows in the order expected. You expect it to parse it from the top to the bottom. For some reason, it was parsing it in reverse order. We fixed that. The content list, it would get stuck and you would try to navigate to a lower level. It wasn't returning the items in the lower level. Again, this is one of those lazy loading things where it needs to go out to the database and find all of the sub items for the top level item that you clicked. It wasn't returning them. So we fixed that. If you happen to be using the desktop workspace, and I know very few of you do, but if you do use the desktop workspace, there was a Kendo UI license error message that was popping up saying, this is not licensed under Kendo UI. It only showed up in the desktop workspace, but we did fix that and remove that. That we updated the licensing file, I think, so it removes that licensing. And finally, on forms, there were times where when you saved a form, you would lose your visibility and enabling conditions on the form, and you would have to reconfigure them. So we addressed that as well. And with that, that's all I have for you today. We have reached 10:30, so it's time for us all to go. Have a great month, and I will look forward to talking to you next month. For those of you who attend the training webinar, hopefully I will not be sick this Thursday, and we'll have our training webinar at the regular time on Thursday. Oh, and I noticed that I forgot to turn on my name and logo in the screen. So there we go. Finally, at least I finished with everything displaying the way it's supposed to display. We'll talk to you guys next month. So long.